Welcome back to Dad's Gone Crypto. Today we've got a doozy for you. 594 Bitcoin, about $38 million worth, gone in 25 minutes. Around 500 wallets were cleaned out while most of us were sleeping. And the common thread? Seeds generated on Coldcard hardware wallets, specifically older MK3 devices, and some of the later models before the fix. This isn't a phishing scam. This isn't someone tricking you into typing your seed. This is a firmware flaw that made the impossible to guess seed phrases guessable. Now today, we're breaking down exactly what happened, who needs to move money today, the simple steps every dad should take to avoid this class of problem forever, and we're going to look at approaches like American Fortress that are trying to move us past the single seed, single point of failure model. So grab a notebook and pay attention because this one's important. So let's talk about exactly what happened. Now here's the simple version. When you create a new wallet on a hardware device, it needs true randomness, or entropy, to generate those 12 to 24 words. The randomness is supposed to come from a dedicated hardware random number generator, the TRNG. On Coldcard MK3 devices running firmware from version 4.01, all the way back in March 2021 and onward, a build error caused the device to skip the good hardware randomness and fall back to a weak software pseudo-random generator. That fallback was seeded with non-secret chip data. It's like serial numbers and timers. The result? Instead of the expected 128 bits of entropy, many MK3 seeds only had around 40 bits of effective randomness. Later models, like the MK4, the Q, the MK5, before the emergency fixes, were better, but still only around 72 bits in some cases, which is still way too low. Now, with only 40 bits, an attacker can systematically generate and check possible seeds offline against known funded addresses. That's exactly what appeared to have happened early this morning. Roughly 500 single signature wallets, mainly dormant for many years, got swept in a tight window. Funds were consolidated, and as of now, a big chunk are still sitting. CoinKite, the maker of Coldcard, believes that someone used AI to review their open source firmware and spotted the bug that their own AI review a few weeks earlier had missed. They issued an emergency advisory and fixed the firmware. So here's some important notes to keep in mind from CoinKite themselves. Updating firmware does not fix an already generated weak seed. You must create a brand new seed on fixed firmware and migrate. Now, they're also saying that if you added enough independent dice rolls, 50 or more fair private rolls, ideally more than 99, when you created that seed, then you're probably safe from any specific RNG issue, but I'd say better safe than sorry. You probably want to migrate. Now, a strong BIP 39 passphrase, not just the PIN, adds real protection. And they say that Tap Signer, OpenDime, and Sats cards were unaffected. So, if your seed was generated on an affected MK3 or later model before they fixed the firmware, and you never used dice or a strong passphrase, you should definitely treat it as compromised and migrate carefully today. So quickly, here's 6 steps to take right now. First, you got to figure out if you're affected. Check when and how you generated the seed phrase. If you're unsure, assume there's risk and migrate. Number 2, update to the fixed firmware first. MK3 needs to be 4.20 or higher. MK4 and MK5 need to be 5.6, and Q needs to be 1.50 Q+. Number 3, on a clean fixed device, generate a new seed. Write it down properly and verify the fingerprint and receive address. Number 4, send a small test transaction first and only then move the rest. Number 5, keep the old backup until everything is confirmed safe. And number 6, strongly consider adding a unique BIP 39 passphrase on the new seed, and then back it up separately and securely. So, first follow those steps if you think you were affected in any way. Then let's talk about some broader dad rules that would have stopped this and most seed disasters, honestly. Now, the number 1 rule there is always add your own entropy with dice rolls when the device allows it. don't trust the device alone. Number 2, always use a strong, unique passphrase. Number 3, you should use multi-sig for any type of life-changing money. If you've got a ton on there, using a 2 of 3 or a 3 of 5 multi-sig is probably the way to go. Number 4, never reuse addresses unnecessarily and keep large stacks on less exposed setups. Number 5, periodically review your setup. Firmware bugs can sit undetected for years, just like this one that lived from 2021 all the way until now. And number 6, test your recovery process while you're still here. Now, we made a video called the Hit by a Bus Protocol a few months back, and I would highly suggest you go back and watch that one if you haven't checked it out. So this Coldcard event is a reminder that even highly respected open source Bitcoin only hardware can have silent entropy failures. So I want to take a dive into how another company, American Fortress, is taking a different angle that directly attacks some of the root problems we just saw. They're building a universal privacy layer focused on a few important points. Number 1 is send to name. Now these are human readable names instead of long addresses. They've got unique stealth addresses generated per sender-receiver pair, and that cuts phishing and stops the public address exposure that attackers use to scan for funded weak seeds. Number 2 is privacy by default and limited exposure models, so your balance and activity aren't sitting out in the open for anyone to target. Number 3, they've got post-quantum work. Their ZKPOSP, that's Zero Knowledge Proof of Seed Provenance, is aimed at protecting existing wallets against future quantum attacks without forcing everyone to move funds or change addresses. And number 4, which is critical for this conversation, they have a patent-pending hardware wallet in the works with Tangem and Samsung. Now, Tangem-style cards use EAL6 Plus certified Samsung secure element. Keys are generated on the chip with a true hardware random number generator inside the secure element. The private key never leaves the chip, and the design is seedless by default, so backup is done by cloning to additional physical cards over encrypted NFC. So no 12 or 24 word phrase sitting as a single static secret that a firmware bug or AI can scan to compromise. Now that's a philosophical shift. They're moving the critical randomness and key material into certified secure hardware that never exposes a recoverable seed phrase in the first place, and then combine it with privacy layers so addresses aren't public honeypots, and also add future-proofing against quantum threats. Now, does this mean that American Fortress magically fixes every past Coldcard seed? No. But their approach, hardware-isolated key generation with proper TRNG, seedless options, stealth addressing, and reducing the attack surface of the static seeds, that's exactly the direction that makes the class of bug we saw today much harder to exploit at scale. So for all you dads out there who want simpler recovery for the family, multiple cards instead of one seed phrase that can get lost or guessed, lower phishing risk, and less reliance on perfect firmware entropy, then these kind of designs are probably worth taking a look at. So guys, my opinion, self-custody is still the right path. But self-custody without good hygiene is just a different kind of risk. So today's lesson has a few very important points. Number 1, verify how your seed was actually generated. Number 2, add your own entropy when you can. Number 3, use passphrases and multi-sig for serious money. Number 4, stay informed when makers issue advisories. And number 5, keep an eye on systems that reduce our dependence on single static user-managed seed phrases. So if you think you were affected at all by this, make sure you move your funds carefully this weekend. If you're not sure, well then treat it like you are affected just to be safe. Drop a comment if you've already migrated or if you have questions, and we'll help where we can. And if this saved you or a buddy some sleep, share it with the other crypto dads in your group chat. Anyway, guys, stay safe out there, stay sovereign, and protect the stack for your family. We'll see you next time on Dad's Gone Crypto. The material and information presented in this recording are for entertainment purposes only. Do not misconstrue what you hear as investment or trading advice. Always do your own research. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the guests on this recording are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of Dad's Gone Crypto or its hosts.